All units suspect spotted. Proceed towards seized cache. We are shooting to kill. All units, seized cache has been dropped. All units, lose cache on the ground. All units, lose cache on the ground.
Ted, you drive this thing.
Suspects are using a transport chopper. Sighted transport chopper. You heard it here first, guys. Suspects are in Whirlybird.
All units, suspects have access to our vault. All units, suspects have located our vault.
I've identified suspect transport chopper.
All units, there's loose cache out there. 1049.
I've been shot.
Gamescom in Germany, EA press conference.
Yes.
They showed Battlefield Hardline. It's the first footage that we've seen since the delay. They showed 12 minutes of single player.
Yes.
It was kind of funny. That single player had a lot of elements from other games in it. For example, it had like a Far Cry 3 tagging system. It had an intimidation, make people surrender thing from like Payday 2. Had a fake surrender from Hitman Absolution.
And also a lot of the layout of the map and like the movement of the player through the environment was also, to me, very similar to Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Like it had that sort of stealth mechanic with a little bit of a choose-your-own-adventure approach to it.
Which they even joked about at the beginning, like right before they go in. He's like, hey, we can go left or we can go right.
Yeah, or we could take them head on. If you're up for that. And you lead.
Actually, I was kind of at least happy that it didn't like pop up on screen with those three options,
Three
like
prompts.
click on one. You know, it was like, no, just still go ahead.
Yeah,
You're
the-
just given a hint, but not like told do this exactly. You know, it was like a little bit of player freedom there.
Nick Mendoza, right? Oh, hey, look at that. Shit just got real.
The antagonist in this 12-minute demo was like right-wing extremists.
Yes.
That may or may not go over
There
well
was a
with.
sort of Cliven Bundy theme
Yeah.
to the.
So I will say, like, people who like Battlefield tend to probably also like firearms, and people who, a certain percentage of people like firearms are probably also, you know, would consider themselves conservative or right-wing. So it's a risky
The
move.
insulted demographic.
Okay, so they also showed some new multiplayer.
Yes.
2 new multiplayer modes, Hotwire and Rescue.
Yes.
That's in addition to the ones that we saw in the beta, which were Heist and Blood Money. So I'm really excited about Hotwire because Heist never produced the car chases that I really wanted in the beta.
And we had that leaked Hardline trailer that seemed to be highlighting that sort of vehicle movement side of the game. And yeah, the beta wasn't showcasing that more or less unique feature to the Battlefield experience.
And the cars really supported it. It seemed like they were trying to go after what tactical intervention
Yes,
like
absolutely,
tried to do,
yeah.
and it was really cool, but it was just too janky to actually work.
Yeah, cool idea, just not well executed.
So I'm very excited to have a car chase mode. The other one was their rescue mode, which they said was esports designed, but basically it's just the hostage rescue mode from Counter-Strike.
Right. And which also reminds us of the Rainbow Six game that's coming up as well.
Yeah, very competitive, or like could potentially compete with Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, it's like the theme of this was it feels like they pulled in a lot of elements from a lot of your other favorite games.
Right. And that's the thing, I'm actually kind of excited about these modes. Like, they do show that they're willing to try something different for Battlefield, and I know that from the Battlefield community that's going to be met with sort of mixed emotions, you know, like even for me watching this stuff, I'm like, yeah, it looks kind of cool, but it's not Battlefield. But it does look kind of cool. Like, it does look like it could be a very, you know, at least polished and well-designed game without having to be true to the franchise's heart.
And I'm completely okay with that. If you're going to make an off-brand Battlefield, you might as well make it, like, pretty different.
Yeah, and
'Cause,
like,
like, you
let's
know-
be honest, like Battlefield 4 is somewhat stale after Battlefield 3.
It was,
you know,
it was kind of
so-
Battlefield 3.5.
Yeah. So having a little bit of a fresh take, and I have to admit I'm somewhat confident about the look of this single player. I mean, I didn't even click campaign on Battlefield 4, and I only maybe got halfway through 3. I mean, I feel like they were not making very compelling characters or story the way like maybe Bad Company did. And so I was just ready to say forget about single player altogether, but this single player content actually looks a little bit more interesting.
The only funny thing I saw in this, I will point out, is in the in the rescue mode, the dude was carrying the hostage like Ace Ventura, man scarf style.
You, take the lead.
Which is cool because he had his
Monopoly guy.
yeah, he had his secondary out, but whatever, that's trivial.
The only thing that bothered me a little bit was that despite the really kind of cool looking mechanics that we were seeing, that there still wasn't like a dedication to realism of like as soon as like you got past some of the stealth mechanic or some of the marking mechanics, all of a sudden you're in a gunfight and you know the destruction is kind of cool, the effects are kind of cool, but like the guy is standing straight up in front of the enemy getting shot and returning fire, and like these moments where all of a sudden it departs from a sense of realism, and it popped me out a little bit watching the footage that way, especially like in the single player there was again cool mechanic of telling people to freeze and like put their hands up, but like in the context of that moment where you're assaulting a compound with like 30 enemies, like two guys are gonna be like, oh, there's this dude here who's telling us to put our weapons down, I guess we'll do that, you know. Doesn't mean it's not gonna be fun.
The one thing I will say is in those gunfights, I did notice that they were using the same mechanics as multiplayer, such as the grappling hook. And the player didn't seem to be able to take a lot of damage, so it's good. Like a good single-player campaign should always train people for the multiplayer. Whereas in like Battlefield 3, like the tank physics were completely different.
Oh yeah.
So you basically were training people to play the game the wrong way when they got into multiplayer. So overall, I'm really happy with what we've seen so far. I'm actually way into Battlefield Hardline being delayed to make it better. I've seen a lot of betas where they had problems and they like didn't delay it, and it was exactly what we thought it was going to be. So yeah,
I agree. I know that you've been looking forward to this. I've been very lukewarm and trepidatious because of Battlefield 4 especially, but today's new footage kind of makes me feel a lot more positive. I'm actually a little bit excited now.
Get that hostage out of here!
The whole place is gonna blow! Move, move, move!